Good day, everybody. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, my country, 'tis a thee, sweet land of liberty. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Those of you who were brought up when I was brought up know what those three things are. One's the national anthem, one's a patriotic song, and the other is, of course, the Pledge of Allegiance. And the problem we're having these days is those songs, which were originally intended to teach us about patriotism, are no longer, to some extent, are no longer in use. You got the NFL is going to do the Black National Anthem. I've never even heard of a Black National Anthem. You've got schools cutting out the Pledge of Allegiance. In my country, 'tis a thee? Wow. I haven't heard that song in so long, I don't even know if any of the kids these days know it. Now, the problem we're having here in our country is the lack of patriotism. So let's go over what patriotism means to me. I may be wrong, but the definition itself is, to me, is doing what is best for your country, regardless of what's best for yourself. Doing what's best for your country, regardless of what you think is best for everybody else. See, our country was founded as a governmental experiment where the people told the leaders what they wanted instead of what the leaders telling the people what they wanted. And somewhere along the line, we've lost that. We elected these people to work for us, but they're not. They're working for themselves, and they're making us do the work for them. We, conservatives especially, see this happening. When I was growing up, I remember my mother, I think it was, saying, "The squeaky wheel gets the grease." Conservatives have been silent for so long that we're not being greased anymore. The far left, the leftists in this country, and some of the liberals, they've become the squeaky wheels, and they're getting the grease. And you know this because of law enforcement policies that have been taking effect here in New York State and elsewhere. You know this because of immigration policies that have gone into effect, not only in New York State, but elsewhere. And you know it by just looking around and seeing what some of these leftists, anarchists are doing and getting away with. And when I say anarchists, I'm meaning Antifa and some of the BLM. And it saddens me, because I don't know if we're going to be able to come back. What I do know is, as long as the squeaky wheel gets the grease, shouldn't we become the squeaky wheels to get things back to the way they should be? To shout these individuals down and tell them to crawl back where they came from? See, the problem is, there are people out there who firmly believe that there is systematic racism. There are those out there who believe that our police agencies are only charging and arresting minorities, when in fact I know if that's wrong. There are those out there who firmly believe that only the blacks are getting killed by the police. That's wrong too. Statistics show that white men are more likely to be shot and killed or killed in the custody of the police than blacks. But for some reason, these individuals who are trying to create chaos are not looking at the stats in that manner. And they're doing it with everything, not just those stats. They're doing it with everything. For somewhere along the line, some of America has forgotten that if you want to be a success in America, you have to work for it. You can't steal to get it. You can't sell drugs to get it. You have to work for it. You have to find something that you're good at and become the best at it if you want to be a big success, or at least good enough to where people will turn to you for whatever it is they're trying to get done. That's how you become a success in this country, not by screaming, crying, and trying to take things away from people who have things that you don't. I also remember back when I was in school, and I'm going to wrap this up with this. We had this social studies teacher, Mr. Eichhorn. I couldn't stand the guy when I was in school because he was tough, okay? But he got my respect. And he said something that stuck with me, and I don't know why it stuck with me, because at the time I really didn't care, but I do care now, and it still stuck with me. He had us go over all these different empires, and he pointed out something, long story short, he pointed out something about each and every empire that was true for, that was similar for all those empires. He said the fall of those empires started with the justice system. Think about that. Think about the events that's going on right now in our country. The justice system was the first to fail during the fall of each of the empires. Isn't that what's happening right now in our country? Don't you think, as conservatives, if we want our country to survive, we need to prop up our justice system, repair it, put it back to the way it belongs? It wasn't a perfect system. I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was. I'm not going to blow smoke up your butts. But it was the best justice system. And I think we need to repair it. I think we need to build it up. Otherwise, we may not have a country. When your justice system falls apart, everything else goes away. You need your justice system. We need to take back our justice system. We need to re-implement everything that our justice system stood for. We need to enforce the laws as they exist, not selectively, but at 100%. Because if you remember right, the very last phrase in the Pledge of Allegiance is justice for all. Have a good day.